Welcome back, everyone. Let's talk about dodge, burn, and sponge tools. So, what these tools do is it adjusts the brightness and darkness. So basically, highlights, midtone, and shadows on your images. They're manual adjustments, and sometimes when things like saturation or the brightness and contrast adjustments don't work, um, or like when layer masks are not as useful, you just want like a quick adjustment. The burn, dodge, and sponge tools work great. So let's take a look at them. They're right here, right there. Okay, this little lollipop looking thing. Okay, this is the dodge tool. Then you get the burn tool. Then you get the sponge tool. Okay, so let's first look at the dodge tool. The dodge tool lightens your image. So you use it just like a brush. Okay, and what I'm gonna do is I'll apply dodge onto this mushroom cap, and you'll see how it lightens. So first, if you look at the toolbar up top, you get these options. Okay, so you can choose the brush that you want to use. Okay, you can use a soft brush or a hard brush. I'm just gonna choose a soft round. Okay, you can choose the hardness too. So like it works just like the brush tool. Okay, so I'm gonna choose like soft hardness, and I'm gonna choose the size to like maybe, this is a big image, so I'm gonna choose like 400 pixels around. Okay, so that it covers about this much of the mushroom cap. Okay, and then for the range, you can choose shadows, midtones, or highlights. So I'll show you what they do. And then you also get exposure, which is basically the strength of the dodge, burn, and sponge tools. All right, and then you also have protect tones. So this basically minimizes clipping in shadows and highlights, and it keeps the colors from shifting hue when you work on it. So when you work on this, if you think it changes the color, the actual color of your image, try turning this on, and then try it again. Might work better. All right, so let's look at the midtone range. So I'm just gonna like brush over this mushroom cap. Okay, so see how it lightens? Okay, so this is my first pass. I'm gonna try again. The more you do it, the lighter it gets, right? Okay, so it's like lightening still. Then I'll do it again, but it's only affecting the midtone. It's not doing anything to this shadow, right? So I'll show you the before and after. Let's go to history, and then this is the original values or brightness, and then you can see that I removed a bunch of midtone darkness to make it lighter, right? So like that. Okay. So just to demonstrate that if you choose midtone, it's only gonna affect the midtones. What I'm gonna do is I'll try applying to like this area where the car is. I'll make the size bigger. Okay. All right, so this general area is brightened, right? Now I'm gonna choose highlights, and then let's see what that does. It only affects the highlights, right? Okay, so if you choose highlights and then you brush over an area, it's only gonna affect the highlights. And then if you choose shadows, I'm gonna go back. If I choose shadows and then brush over an area, it's only gonna affect the shadows. Okay. So see how the shadows are gone now? The shadow under this fly cap is gone. but the midtone, the red, largely remains, right? Okay, so this is before and after. Okay. Let's try on a different part of the image. Okay, for the shadows. Okay. Okay, so the shadows are gone, right? So before and after. I took away the shadows because it's only affecting the shadows. Whereas, if I choose highlights and then do it, it's affecting mostly the highlights, and the shadows remain. See how the black still remains? Okay, I'm only affecting the highlights. All right, so depending on what you choose, you can have it affect different tones. Okay, let's look at the burn tool. The burn tool works the same way, except you're darkening it this time. You're taking away the exposure. Okay, so with the midtone selected, I'm making it darker. Okay, I'm making just the midtones darker. Okay, so see how this area, this highlight right here, isn't affected. I'm only doing the midtones. Okay, so before, after. All right, let's try shadows. Okay, with the shadows selected, the shadows become noticeably darker. I'm only affecting the shadows in the image, right? Whereas the highlights are staying the same. See, like, I'm using it on the sky and it doesn't do anything, right? But where the shadows are, it greatly affects it. Okay, before, after. All right, and then highlights. Okay, if you select highlights, the highlights get darker, but the shadows remain the same. Okay, so make sure you choose the right range. All right, and then lastly, you get the sponge tool. The sponge tool works the same way, except now you're desaturating it. Okay, so desaturate or saturate. Okay, so let's choose desaturate, and then let's try this. You're taking color away. You're basically turning it into a black and white image. Okay, so before and after. Okay, and then if you choose saturate, you're turning up the saturation where your brush goes over. See how it becomes more vivid? Okay. All right, so I'm gonna try desaturating this mushroom. I want it full strength, okay? 100% flow. Then I'm gonna do this on this mushroom. Only this mushroom is gonna turn into a black and white image, black and white portion of the image. Okay, I'm removing color, and see how this midtone, this highlight, they're turning gray. Okay, and then let's try with another mushroom. I'm gonna dodge. I'm gonna turn it into turn it really light. All right, so this mushroom is it's lighter than the rest. Okay, and then burn. I'm gonna use it on this mushroom. This mushroom is gonna be very dark. Okay. All right, so you can apply the same principle on things like shadows. Don't just make like random objects desaturated or like lighter or darker. You can use it where the shadows or the highlights need more work. If you take a photo and you think you think like the shadows aren't dark enough, you can take the burn tool and then work over the shadows. You're going to select both midtone and then shadows, because shadows actually consist of both midtone and shadows, right? It's not just shadows. So work the shadow with your midtones, and then again with the shadow selected. Okay, and then it'll turn your cast shadow darker. So these are some good tools that you can use to make adjustments to really perfect the image. Okay, so try this out, and I'll see you in the next lesson.